All right, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me okay. This is Starjump Grim. Getting ready to do Starjump weekly chat here. Let me know in chat if you can hear me okay. Jack says 5 by 5. That's good. All right, we're going to click over live here, everybody. Nice to see everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to today's weekly chat. Today we're doing it on Wednesday instead of Thursday, which is the usual day. See everyone in chat. I see Nazareth in chat over on YouTube. Nazareth, hope you're doing well. Always enjoyed your and Tree's discussion show. So nice to see you on. Everyone, I am going to do, this is going to be a little bit of a free-form discussion today, kind of an open chat, so feel free to post any ideas or questions or anything you have related to our primary topic today, which is Invictus Launch Week 2955. Coming up very soon, actually. I had speculated on the dates a few weeks ago, and we're actually was a little bit wrong on that. We have new dates that I think are accurate, so we'll go over that. As you all know, we are doing St. Jude Play Live. The Starjump team is through our sort of our Starjump Guardians initiative. You can see up at the top, we have this year raised $5,435 already, and we're only 9 days into this campaign. It's going to be a 2-month campaign, so very excited for that. It's I think ultimately this is going to be a really successful campaign, primarily due to all of you and just the incredible generosity you've shown over the last 9 days now. So we have an overall lifetime fundraising number of 21,878 for the Starjump Guardians crew, primarily under driving that in years past. If you are interested, of course, in donating while we do today's talk, let me grab the link here. Stand by, I got too many links up. If you're interested, you can, of course, and Twitch, you can see that link right there. Thank you, Ender, for posting that. And if you're over on YouTube, I'm going to pin the link to the top of the YouTube chat. You can go to that Tiltify link and donate there. We really appreciate it. There are multiple raffles to get in on, and I can pull up some of those now. Let me just bring up the schedule. Right now, well, actually, our Cutter Red Festival ended. I need to update this. You know what? Let's
Yeah,
update it right now. Let's go ahead and update it right now. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
good. Sorry.
You're good. Okay, hopefully this should update it. There. No, is that the old one? I thought I updated this. Well, maybe it's all right. I guess I need to re-update this. Our raffles are going too quick. But essentially, everyone, we have a couple raffles going on right now. Currently 3. We have I believe it's the Drake Buccaneer, right, Ender?
Right. The
Yep.
Buccaneer is currently going until the 19th.
Yeah, Drake Buccaneer. Currently going till the 19th. So when you donate via the Tiltify link, you can put your money towards that raffle. You can also put your money towards the 600i, which is a $40 ticket buy-in for that raffle. We'll be giving that away on the 15th, so it's coming up pretty soon. I think that's next
Right.
Tuesday.
I'll be on my way out. So, Grim, you're doing that one.
Sounds good. We'll do it on the shipyard stream. I'll make it a big deal when we do that. So that'll be really cool. And we'll be heading out to St. Jude. Very, very exciting. And then obviously April 30th, the big one. And I think we'll do something big and fun for that giveaway night. April 30th, we're giving away the first of 2 RSI Polarises. Get big shout out to all of our donators, GearCon, Lazy Donuts, James at Icon City, Bingo Winchester. I may be forgetting a name or two, but we'll make sure we call them out when those raffles are done up. But big thanks to them. But the Polaris is a $100 ticket buy-in. You can get on that when you go to that Tiltify link. But it's exciting time, and again, thank you all for your incredible donations. I did get a message the other day related to YouTube and something I wanted to talk about real quick before we jump into the topic. I had a person on YouTube leave a comment. And first off, shout out to them because it was a constructive comment, constructive feedback, and whenever people have feedback, it's always great when it is constructive, because when I read constructive feedback or constructive critique, I'm more apt to try to make to solve those problems. And the person had mentioned that They really miss the pre-recorded shipyard episodes because the live ones, there's a lot of interruptions in the case of follows and whether it's dogs barking or whatever. And I just wanted to say, definitely hear you loud and clear on that. I am currently have in production 2 shipyard episodes, but that's not all the pre-recorded episode stuff we are currently working on. Ender is also working on Starjump Academy stuff, so we're going to get back to some pre-recorded Star Citizen
Mhm.
content. Obviously there was a drought with that, with Starjump, but that was a little bit by design, to be quite honest with you. There was a pretty steep fall off in viewership with some of the pre-recorded content. So part of the strategy here has been to refocus efforts over the last 6 months to sort of build up the Starjump audience again, put a little bit more effort into that, and we have. Our YouTube numbers have grown significantly, for example. So to get that extra growth and then start putting out that pre-recorded content again to that larger audience. And it's not that I don't mind serving a smaller audience, it's that the YouTube algorithm really just punishes you. So it's all about consistency, which we're trying to do better at, and not only with consistency, but with trying to audience grow a bit. So just wanted to put that out there. I do constructive critique like that. I do read and understand. Totally get that. Some of you prefer that pre-record stuff, and I think you will see more of that. Again, Ender working on his really awesome Academy series, which I'll probably do some stuff with too, of course. But
Oh yeah,
we're this is something we have been thinking about. We haven't been ignoring the idea of getting pre-recorded stuff out. So
no, not at all, not
I
at
know
all. Matter of fact,
the live format isn't for everyone, and I do understand that. So
yeah. If I can bogart 2 seconds of
sure, go ahead.
time, I do apologize. We'll have a pre-recorded have academy tonight.
Right,
I'll be
that's true.
putting it
Yeah,
up in just a few minutes,
yeah,
but
that
there
is
will
true.
be one tonight at 6 p.m. So
Awesome. Yeah.
I have something coming tonight.
So everyone, make sure you actually enter. Let's post the Academy channel link. I need to make a bot for that. Do not let me forget that. I want to push that as a bot
I do too. Yeah.
announcement. But we'll post the Academy channel here on YouTube. Everyone, make sure you go give that a follow. Again, right now we just have the teaser and sort of the kind of concept video where Ender, it's sort of a talking head video that kind of talks about it, but we do want to bring attention to it. Blurry Pixel already with a $20 donation. Thank you very much, Blurry.
Oh wow,
Blurry has
thank you.
been dropping donations all the way through the campaign so far,
Yes,
and we
he
really
has.
appreciate it. Blurry, thank you very much. Salute
Thank
to
you
you.
so much, man.
Um,
Here is that, and I will
there you
also
go,
go
everyone.
to
Starjump Academy.
the
It's our new channel.
YouTube.
And this is a channel, I'll go ahead and tell you now, where our main Starjump channel is sort of focusing on those people that have been following the game for a long time. That's what the shipyard episodes do. We're deep diving ships. We're talking about minutia that may only matter to of someone that's been following for a lot of years. We do topic-based shows, etc., like Starjump Station, where we talk about do deep dive certain gameplay loops and stuff. Starjump Academy has taken a slightly different approach in that it's focusing on the new player. And I wouldn't even say just the new player, but the brand new player. Like the person who's like, how do I get out of my hab? How do I crank the ship up? How do I accept my first contract? Those sort of
Yeah,
things. Think Foundation Festival that CIG does, but as a channel. Um,
I would say
yeah.
new and returning
And
players. You
returning
know what I
players,
mean?
yeah, because a lot
Or
of these systems
that
change.
player who's forgotten that one
Yep.
basic item and
Yeah.
wants to remember.
Exactly. I see
Yep.
VMXEO in chat. Everyone give VMXEO a salute. VMXEO just sent me a really exciting message earlier today that he is currently testing some StarFab stuff and that it is very, very, very close. As you all know, for any of you that enjoy Starjump Fleet Viewer, VMXEO in chat is a large part of that effort with his StarFab tool and his partners over there, James the Stormtrooper and Ventivar, allowing us to get a lot of ships into Fleet Viewer and help make that project a reality. So without further ado, we're going to kind of jump into it here, everybody, and we'll talk some more St. Jude here in a bit. But the news of today is Invictus launch week. it's coming up quick. We have, let me go ahead and bring some stuff up. Originally, I had said that some information had come out showing that Invictus launch week was going, I forget when it started. I wanted to say it was like May 18th or whatever, and would go all the way to um, May 31st, because I even made the comment that, oh, this is going to be great because it's going to end on the last day of St. Jude Played Live. We have further information now, and it does look like that has changed a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over. So here is our information. This is going to be at the Bevic Convention Center, which I believe is, yep, Area 18. So it's going to be at Area 18 this year, which is really kind of cool. It's been a while since we've been back there. And looks like Invictus is going to run from May 15th to May 27th, which actually, Ender, I almost like that better because Invictus will end a few days before St. Jude. So that
Yeah,
gives us a
yeah,
few days to sort of wrap St. Jude up properly without the
yeah.
Invictus wait. You know what I mean?
It's kind of a perfect little mix. It
Mhm.
gives us a good dynamic and a little break in between to
Yeah,
kind of do
exactly.
our own thing. So
Yeah. Stunner says, well, to be honest, we did need to know that Ender hadn't just created Grim via AI. Well, there you go. You never know. I could
or
be
vice
AI.
versa.
It could be AI. You know. Karmic Cap is saying, what I want to know from Academy, how do I convince all my friends to use my referral code? That's a great question. I wish I
Good
could solve that
question.
one for you, Karma, because
I
I don't know.
beg, borrow, and then start kidnapping and tying people up.
Karma,
Important people.
let me put it this way, Karma. Starjump has 14,100 subscribers on YouTube. I have 3,000 on Twitch. I have 6 referrals.
And I have 10,
Six,
so we're
six,
doing really good.
which is not like neither one of those numbers is to be proud of. Like, honestly, we as Startup as a group, you'd think we would have hundreds, but it's just not the case. I actually saw a stream that Execute and the Info Runners did the other day, and Execute's been doing this years longer than us, and he's only got 40. Okay, and they put out a lot more content than us. So it just goes to show you that the current referral system is really broken. I do hope the new. I'm actually very excited for the referral system coming in July, the new one. I do think CIG they could go two ways with it. They could make one that really benefits big content people and streamers, but I don't know why they would do that because the current one sort of does that already. Or they can make a referral system that is really balanced to not only reward those high end players that have big audiences, which it should, but also have other tiers that really reward grassroots people, just players of the game. I think that would be really awesome, especially as we move into a Star Citizen 1.0 Squadron 42 kind of mindset. Um, so yes, Invictus launch week. We do have a few other bits of news because there's been a lot of speculation. I've done my own streams, speculation surrounding what ships we're going to see. You know, is the Perseus coming? Is the Ironclad coming? Is the Apollo coming? Is the Paladin coming? Drake Heavy Fighter? We've heard all the discussions. Um, a lot of those ships we've discussed on past shows. It's been pure speculation. We've been taking educated guesses. Um, but we've got a lot of information in just the last little bit that has really solidified what the plan is, and I think we have a good idea of what's coming during Invictus now. Not that there won't be some surprises, but to start with this bit of discovery, I think we need to go back to the PU monthly report that was just put out. I want to say on April 2nd. Some ship news there. First one I'm going to say is they said the Consolidated Outland Pioneer progressed through White Box, benefiting from additional concept work shown during a recent episode of Star Citizen Live. None of us thought the Pioneer was coming during Invictus, and I'm going to tell you right now, none of us think that the Pioneer is coming this year. The Pioneer, in my opinion, is the soonest we'll see it will be IAE at the end of next year. Okay. Um, oops, hold everyone. Restream is janking out on me. Hopefully everything is running okay. Chat, let me know if things are falling apart. Let me see here. Twitch chat
You're
and
looking good.
okay, cool. Restream chat is being a little weird at the moment. But anyway, um, No, it's acting a little weird. That is bizarre, but ultimately, the Consolidated Outland Pioneer, not right now, of course. The Apollo said it just successfully passed its white box review gate and moved into gray box with support from the concept team on the medical room design, which means they are sort of reconcepting how the medical room is going to be laid out and work. So I know a lot of people, when they're talking about the Apollo medevac and triage, reference those old design documents that showed the top-down cutaways. Well, I wouldn't get too married to those. I think CIG is going to change the Apollo to more accommodate current medical gameplay, so we're going to have to see how that works out for it. They also say that the RSI Perseus has passed its white box review at the start of March, so not that long ago, about a month ago. And it says, like the Apollo, some areas progressed visually thanks to the RSI kit. Obviously, that kit coming from Zeus and Polaris and stuff. What that means, though, is no Polaris is at Invictus launch week. As a matter of fact, I'm doubting we'll even see an exterior if it's that early. And that's okay. I do think, though, that guarantees the Perseus is at IAE. A little disappointing. I was hoping we were going to get Perseus or Apollo, one of those at Invictus. Little bit sad about that, and I don't know how you feel, but one thing I do think is we could get an update during Invictus on how Perseus development is going. So yeah.
I was pretty sad about it, but it was a little bit of a gut punch. But I am hopeful that we get an update. I would like to be able to at least see the thing in person.
Yeah. It was such a
I
cool
had
thing when
high
they did the
hopes.
Polaris exterior. It was a really cool.
Yeah. I had high hopes when we saw the long shot of this, of the Perseus.
Yeah.
That we were a little further along. But I can see that where we wouldn't be, a long shot is just that, a long shot. So,
sorry, intro. Yes, I'm turning him down. I forgot I had that desktop audio turned way up. Apologies.
Sorry.
That should be better intro. Thank you for that heads up, by the way. Real quick, everyone. I'm going to pause the discussion for a minute. If you are on, actually, let me pull this up real quick because I want to get the link here. Yeah, let me grab the link because I want to have the link here. Intro, thank you for that follow. Thank you very much for that follow. Really appreciate it. Everyone, I'm going to post a channel into chat here, YouTube channel. I want to do a quick shout out. As you all know, I am a father. I do have a 9-year-old daughter who's very big into gaming, and we kind of bond over games. We play Minecraft, we play Roblox. It's a big part of her life. Obviously, gaming's a big part of my life, and that father-daughter bond through gaming is always been really important to me. And I want to shout out someone in chat right now, Sisters of Battle. This channel is a one that I put out on our community board not too long ago, trying to send Starjump group over there to give it some support and try to spread it in your communities. But really great group of people. It's a family, father and 2 daughters who are doing their own content creation. They do a lot of stuff around other genres and games. I think they may even do miniatures or D&D, I forget, but they definitely do a lot of Star Citizen coverage. But it's just really awesome to see a father doing this with his 2 daughters, and I think it's really, really awesome. They're over there on YouTube. There you can see them in chat. Sisters of Battle Sci-Fi. I'm going to go ahead and post their channel into chat. If you're over on Twitch, please make sure you give their channel a follow. And spread it to your friends if you like the content, and those of you already on the YouTube, make sure you follow them as well. Again, great content and great to see families doing stuff together. I think that's really, really cool. I know Ender obviously has 2 kids, big into gaming himself, and it's always cool when you see that kind of bonding over a common hobby. So yeah, make sure you give them a follow. All right, let's continue on. Now, I talked about the Apollo, Perseus, some of that again. What we also heard of too was some other ships that they didn't go into too much, saying they were really far along in development or finishing final art or whatever. The big one they talked about though, and this is the key one, is the MISC Starlancer TAC moved into final development phase. Now, everyone suspected, oh, okay, that must mean the TAC is perfectly lined up for Invictus. Well, this next piece of art, I think, all but confirms that. So I'm going to pull that up now. This is one of the Invictus banners that has now come out, leaked out, and you can clearly see here that this banner is showing off the Starlancer TAC. It says "Defending the Future." So I think this all but guarantees that we will see the TAC at Invictus launch week. This one is one I'm a little split on personally. I really like the Starlancer Max. It's not without some design issues. At the same time, I want to be excited for the Starlancer TAC. I'm just not super excited about it. Here's what I'll say: if I think we'll get a better understanding of all the of some features of the Starlancer TAC at Invictus, and if its cargo area is substantial, like I know we won't have the ventral spinal cargo area, but if the rear cargo area is mostly intact, I would consider possibly changing the Max to the TAC just to get some of the added benefits of like the medical facility and stuff on it. Indra, I know you've flown the Max a bit. What is your opinion on the Max actually as a ship?
It's a good ship. I like the Starlancer in general. I don't like the way the I can't think. I apologize. The storage works
On the
for
sides, right? The spinal
the
storage
sides
that
and the
go,
bottom. Yeah, that it's such a weird, finicky system. You tend to sit there and beat the crap out of your ship trying to get things on
You
and
really
off.
do.
Other than that, though,
You really
other
do.
than that,
Yeah.
that one little, I'm going to nitpick this one. That one little piece, though, I like this ship.
Yeah,
And to be honest with you, I can just pull my stuff off without pulling that down just fine.
Yeah.
So who cares?
Into just donated $40 towards the Origin
Intro,
600i. Intro,
you.
thank you very much. I'm going to give you the salute here. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Also-
Ender appreciates
I
you.
also just want to point out that we are $5 away from $5,500 in 9 days. That is
Because that's how
just
that's how
insane
this
to me.
that's how the Starjump community does it, my friend. That is how they do it. And big thanks to you all. Thank you, Intro. Looks like I'll be doing the name draw for that raffle on Tuesday during our shipyard episode. So when I stream for shipyard during the day that day, we will give that 600i away. Again, you don't have to be in stream for that because your donation to St. Jude locks you in for that running. VMXEO says, I have the Max up right now in StarFab, and there are a few small areas where I tweak things, but I still think it's a great ship.
I do. I think it's a great ship. I think the Starlancer is just
Thank you.
In general, the Starlancer is a great ship.
Anonymous just pushed us to $5 towards the No More Chemo Party. Thank you very much, Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Giving you the old double salute. Appreciate that. Maybe Anonymous is like me and that OCD kicks in.
Ito Kairu is right.
What?
I think
Bean for 5,500. It's possible. It is possible.
I have a small problem. My bean is going to be a hot bean because I received my hot bean.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
So I get to figure out if I'm getting
Kairu.
I'll let Ito Kairu choose. Ito, for me, would you like me to do a one of the hot beans or one of the bean boozles with Grim here?
Yeah. See, I don't have anything to drink. This is the problem.
So you're gonna have to sit there and
give that some thought. Give that some thought, Kyra. Give that some thought. Yeah, my thoughts on the Starlancer again. Those ventral storage things a little too tight sometimes for the cargo, but it's more of a cargo loading issue.
I agree.
but I do really love the Starlancer. I do wonder
It's a
if
great ship.
its habitation area is almost overkill for the ship, but um,
I can see that.
he
I could
says
absolutely
go
see
with
that.
Grim, by the way. But I
Go with
think
Grim. All right.
but I think the Starlancer is a really great ship. I think CAG did a great job with it. I found it incredibly useful during Fight for Pyro, actually, and I, I'm starting. The TAC is starting to interest me, and what's going to be the interesting thing about the TAC is how many people do a CCU from the Max to the TAC, because I have a feeling the TAC is going to be a little bit more expensive than the Max, and it'll be interesting to see how many people do that switch. So, um, but again, that's the thing with the Max VMXEO is there is a lot of room for the habitation area, a lot of room for the general common area, the galley. There's a lot of room for cargo, so it's actually got a lot of space. But a lot of people forget that the Starlancer is a pretty damn big ship. It's substantially bigger than even a Connie. It's about 20 meters long, so plenty of room to move around, and it's going to be interesting to see how the TAC handles that space too when we ultimately see it. Okay. Hey, there's Execute. Hope you're well, Execute. Yeah, the build is exciting too. Hopefully, we get more information on that. All right. Are we doing one of these beans under?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do a bean.
Let me.
You want me to spin or you want to spin?
How about we both spin separately? That way, it's
Oh,
different
let's
experiences
do
here.
it.
All right. Ready? It's spinning. All right. I landed on.
Oh God.
I landed
I got
on.
bad or bad. I got a bad choice or a bad choice.
I got.
I got licorice or burnt rubber.
I got pomegranate or old bandage.
You are in for a treat, sir.
Oh gosh.
You're in for a treat.
All right, let me find it. Let me find the pomegranate or old bandage one here.
I wouldn't tell you. No matter what, I lose here because licorice is terrible. Black licorice is terrible.
I'm nervous because the one I had yesterday that was wet dog, that was truly horrible. Like I thought these would maybe just have a little bit of a bad taste and maybe a little overblown. They're pretty bad.
No, I don't go overblown, buddy.
These are pretty bad. Okay, so I
got black licorice. It's not great, but
okay.
It's not burnt freaking rubber.
Okay, I've got pomegranate or old bandage. Here we go. I'm actually scared. I'm a little scared to do it. All right, here we go. I'm a little scared.
Now you understand. Now you understand me. And you know why I do this every year.
Full call.
Yep. It's the old bandage. Embrace it.
Oh God, that is horrible. I don't even know if I can get it down. This is bad. Sisters of Battle, we are eating. These are being boozled. We're doing this because people are donating money to our St. Jude charity campaign for sick kids and their families. We're eating the bean boozle, and when you spin this, it has the chance to either land on a good flavored jelly bean or a bad flavored jelly bean. You don't know which one you're going to get. And so the one I landed on could either be pomegranate or old bandage, and I definitely got old bandage. I'm honestly starting to wonder if there are any good flavors in this. This is horrific.
Sisters, here's the beauty. Grim is doing this for the first time this year. I've been doing this for the last 3.
God, the aftertaste is nasty too.
And I have done Bean Boozle every year for the last 3 years. And I have yet to receive more than 5 good beans in total. 2 of them have been this year.
Yeah. And can I tell you, the aftertaste is almost worse than the bean.
So what I do, Grim, reason I do the hot bean is because if you do a hot bean in between these shitty beans, forgive my language, everyone. You do a hot bean in between these crappy beans, it's a little better. So you get a bad bean, right? But then the hot bean kind of burns your taste buds. It just melts away the pain. So
I'm not going to lie. It is pretty damn bad. Oh man, it's really really bad. The flavors too for like Old Bandage and stuff like that. I can't describe it. I don't know if that's like what Old Bandage tastes like, but it's a I don't know what I can't even
It's
describe the
it's
flavor. I really
it's
can't.
as if you soaked a piece of cardboard in. I've gotten enough of these. It's as if you soaked a piece of cardboard in the juice of a dead hobo for a month.
Yeah,
I think that would be the most accurate
it's pretty horrific.
way of putting it.
It's pretty horrific. I do not recommend it, but
It's
yeah,
bad.
I feel a little sick to be quite honest with you. But I'm gonna get through this. The Old Bandage is that is pretty bad. That's pretty. I
Hey
will say
man,
this: the Old Bandage did taste pretty much identical to Wet Dog, which I got Wet Dog the other day, and that was bad. That was really bad.
forgive my verbiage. I am former military, and I am.
Yes,
It's
Ender likes to
um.
bring his bad language into my streams and
This,
sully them. Uh,
oh, really? Okay,
yes,
that's.
yeah.
I have durian fruit candy,
Which
Grim,
is, and here's
and
the thing. But remember,
not kidding.
I've
It is.
but here's the thing. I've had durian
You've had
soup.
the actual fruit.
I've had the
You've had the
fruit,
soup.
yes, in a soup, and it was
Is it?
bad.
I mean, it's like gasoline
It's bad. It's really
and
bad.
it's. I just oof.
Whew. All
Mm.
right. Okay. Execute in chat says, "Is that TAC image a new leak? Haven't seen it with Invictus on it." Yes, this is a new leak. This is one of the posters. Got a few of them up here. This is the first one here showing Invictus defending the future May 15th to May 27th at Area 18, Stanton at the Bevic Convention Center. And then we have the Starlancer TAC image here for Invictus defending the future. And then one more, and this is kind of the next one I wanted to talk about. This one is Witness the Might of the Empire Firsthand, Aegis Idris Experience at IO North Tower Rooftop, which I think is going to be awesome, from the Bevic Center, Tech City Flight Shuttle, ArcCorp Plaza. Again, I think that's going to be super, super cool. I hope it's docked on the rooftop there. That's going to be really cool. Here's what I hope, okay? Here's what I hope. And CIG, please don't let me down, okay? Please do not let me down on this one. Please make it the updated Idris. What a cool way to show off the new Idris than to have that docked at the top of that tower for everyone to see. And again, I've shown it many times on this channel, everybody, but the new Idris, you can see it here from the Squadron 42 gameplay demo. The new Idris, substantial changes from the old Idris that we all know and have seen in the verse many, many times. I keep thinking about this. One of the things they're advertising for Invictus is to tour the Idris and all that. They're going to have it in a new area. Is it going to be exciting if it's the same Idris we've already done the boarding stuff with, or that they're all, all that kind of stuff? I think they need to show the Idris off in a whole new light, really pull back the curtain on it. And what better way to show the new Idris? Again, you can see because it's got the new custom chevron-shaped engines, whole new exterior cladding. Again, we've gone over this in previous streams pretty extensively. You can see the new back end here. What better way to show this off than an Invictus? And leading up to hopefully it next year going into the PU. Execute says, weird. The last leak said Orison. Now they say Area 18. Yeah. This is what I've received, Execute, and there's a couple data miners that have pulled this from the latest Evo build. There are also audio files, though, that back all this up. Pre-recorded audio files saying, talking about the Idris tour, talking about the Starlancer TAC, talking about the Guardian MX, talking about where to board the Idris and stuff at Area 18. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Looks like this is the correct information because it was pulled from the latest Evo build. But I really hope it's the new Idris. Again, if when Squadron 42 goes flight ready, when it releases next year, 2026, if they hit that date or that year, they said that the Idris will go to players when Squadron 42 launches. Okay, if that is the case, and the Idris has had substantial exterior redesign, which I think it has, and interior redesign work. Just FYI, because there's been a lot of interior stuff found that has changed. If that is the case, they've got to start. They've got to start showing us this soon to all the backers that have pledged for an Idris. So I think so that they're not dropping something on people when Squadron 42 launches that's completely out of left field. So I think I could be totally on hopium here,
Sure.
but last year they showed the Polaris exterior. What better way to sort of top that than doing the new Idris on the ArcCorp rooftop? I don't know. Ender, what do you think about that? Do you think that would be kind of a big
Thank
marquee moment?
you.
Nope. Actually, Noble Knight 747 donated $40 towards the 600i. Noble Knight. Giving you the double salute here. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. That money going directly to sick kids and their families. So thank you for that support. Really appreciate that, Noble. Ender, what do you think? Would you be excited about seeing a new Idris on display?
Always. I mean, the Idris is such a gorgeous ship anyway.
Yeah.
Being able to look at it, being able to see it is always going to be a fun thing.
Yeah.
And
so being able to
see it is always going to be great.
And here's the funny thing. The Idris as it was, I don't want to say a lot of the newness is worn off, but people have seen it now. There was an event where you had to board it. It's I don't want to, and we've toured it before in past Invictuses. I don't want to say that it's like old news now, but if you look at this banner here, it says "Witness the might of the Empire firsthand." Idris experience. I could be totally reading into this too much, but I do feel like if it was just the same old Idris, this would be a little less wordy and would just say, take part in the Idris tour or something like here. They're referring to this as the Idris experience. Witness the might of the Empire firsthand. They're kind of glowing this type up a little bit. Now that could just be some wordsmithing on CIG's part. 100% could be the case. But I feel like they're trying to say this could be something bigger, and I think that would be really, really cool. Because also, like I said earlier, looks like the Perseus is not going to be ready for even an exterior show off. The big ship that does look like it's coming is the Starlancer TAC, which as cool as the Starlancer TAC is, we've kind of seen the Starlancer series at this point with the Max. I feel like you need something kind of to grab people that they haven't seen before, right? And I really think the Idris redesign could be that. Like I said, personally, I hope that's what this is. That's what I hope this is. But all we're going to be able to do is wait and see. Again, you can see some of that new Idris here. For those of you that are familiar with the way the Idris looks, it has received a pretty substantial full exterior rework. I'm very, very familiar with the Idris, and I can tell you it's a significant rework. Hopefully, if we do have StarFab working well by that time, Invictus rolls around. It'll be cool for us to, and it is in game. We'll maybe be able to export that updated model and get that into Fleet Viewer, which would be really, really cool. No promises, but we'll try. So that is the Idris. Obviously, the Idris experience. We'll see more what they're going to do with that. Ultimately, I hope that it is the new one. Obviously, the Starlancer TAC coming. The other thing that has been referenced in the files is the Guardian MX, a new variant of the Guardian. Probably not the biggest surprise that yet another variant of that ship is coming. It wasn't too long ago that CIG released an image. It was pretty hotly debated in the Starjump Discord surrounding. It said, "Are you ready for combat?" And there was like a little bit of looked like finished flight ready mesh previewed, and a lot of us were debating: is it a new Drake Heavy fighter? Is it a new? Is it a close up of part of the Perseus or whatever? Which I kind of was thinking it was. I feel like I feel pretty confident now that this is it was a screenshot of this new Guardian, the Guardian MX. We don't really have any other information on it right yet, but what I think we can pull from the MX tag is that it's probably just a combat variant, obviously, but I would think it's either heavily missile based or one of the other things that leaked out was some new type of torpedo, like a smaller torpedo. That is also some of the entity stuff found, and I think it could be a torpedo variant. Maybe it comes loaded with a lot of like size, I don't know, 4 or 5 torpedoes. I don't know how big they would need to be for it to carry a few of these, but that could be kind of interesting. A small torpedo boat. So, um, let's see here. Let's see here. Execute. Asking be dropped in. Let's see. Maybe Execute's got some ship information. There's Execute. How you doing, buddy? Is Execute here?
Oh, yeah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
What's your thoughts on some of the latest Evo leaks?
There's a fair bit there, actually, to be honest. I'm gonna have to
quite a bit that's leaked out. I haven't looked through all of it myself. There's quite a bit. I know that they are pushing another Evo build tonight, so there'll probably be a lot of additional information that is that comes out. So
they seem to be really pushing a lot of multiples of ships, like especially a lot of the newer stuff. So, for example, I'd expect them to come back to the Golem, and we'll see another couple of variants of that, kind of like what you and I talked about before. The Guardian one, I think the only MX variant we've got is currently the Fury. As soon as you mentioned it, because of the close ties to the Vanguard, the first thing I thought of was the Harbinger. So a torpedo variant, I think, is totally possible. I wouldn't rule that out at all.
Especially too, because there's there's a Fleet Week event, and again, everyone. So I probably should have said this during the chat. If you don't want leaks, well, if you don't want leaks, you should probably never come to a Starjump Grim stream at all, because it's pretty much I focus on that. But one of the other things to leak out of some of the Evo information was a new event that will occur during Fleet Week called Hunt the Polaris. So I think there's going to need to be ships. I could see I could see a small little torpedo based ship being playing sort of an integral role in that.
There's also a new mining base as well. So hopefully it's not just a P versus P event this time. Hopefully they've learned a little bit from the last one. And it does look kind of cool. To be honest, as an asteroid base, it actually looks pretty cool. They seems to have some kind of rail system on it.
There's some other additional information I'll just get out real quick here for everyone. They, again, talk about the new straight-to-flyable Mirai Guardian MX. They're sort of a heavy ordnance missile variant. There are audio files referencing this. They state a flyable Anvil Paladin. This would probably be the biggest shocker to me, especially because I feel like the Paladin and the Guardian...
Why did you mention that?
That is in 4.1.1 post data mine in the channel I'm talking about. It says flyable. That would shock me because it was just not too long ago that CIG said the Paladin was moving out of white box. So
can you give me the date?
That would be yesterday at 9:06 p.m. in the main feed. So either if that's true and the Paladin is going to go flight ready, then that would guarantee that some of the information CIG gives us about where ships are in development isn't always accurate, because it was just not too long ago the Paladin was listed as white box. So again, things change and priorities shift, but there is a note that possibly the Starlancer BLD as a display model. That'd be kind of interesting. I don't know how they would make that interesting unless they made the drone doors open where you could actually see a drone. That would maybe be one of the first drones we see in game, so that would be kind of interesting. And then obviously they list the Starlancer TAC as flyable. But if the BLD is on display, and I say that's a giant if, actually to me the one that's the most doubtful, if it's up for display, it also could go for concept sale, because remember, they have not concept sold the BLD yet.
It actually does say flyable Anvil Paladin. Crazy.
I'm still skeptical of that. I mean, I know, Ender, you have a Paladin still, right? I think you do.
I do. Yeah.
I really like the Paladin. I think it's an exciting ship. I want it to be flight ready. I want it to come out.
Well,
I
I'd
would
love
just
to
be
have it, for
I'd just be
sure,
shocked
but
if it
yeah,
is.
I'd be shocked if it came out now, for sure.
And wouldn't the
Real quick,
Paladin and Guardian kind of step on each other from the price point standpoint? Isn't the Guardian? I forget how much they both are, but I thought they kind of stepped on each other.
They're exactly the same price. So
Okay.
essentially,
Yeah.
the final resting price will be $330. It's currently $300 for the Paladin, but they go up by 10% when they come out. So you can see where it's going pretty quickly. And the War Bond price was the same and stuff like that. So they all line up. They're basically, the Paladin is essentially what the Redeemer was until they moved it back to what it should have been.
Yeah.
And I don't think like, again, I've been through this with the military boys that I talk to, and they've basically said the Redeemer is like an insertion ship for special forces.
Right,
And
faster.
the Paladin actually stays in the fight and fights you. So they are both a very different thing. But I was going to ask Ender, in regards to the Mirror Garden, there's it says heavy audience or ordnance there. What does heavy imply to you, Ender, that it is more of a torpedo variant, or do you just think that means it's got shitloads of missiles? Is it a volume question when it says heavy, or is it a physically larger bomb? You're the military guy out of us three, so I thought I'd ask you.
I'm kind of with Grim on it. Grim mentioned earlier because I asked him the same question. Is it because I didn't know heavy ordnance was what they had used for the wording. So I said, do you think this is a Talon versus Talon Shrike deal that we're dealing with right now? And he said, well, I think it might be a torpedo boat. And with heavy ordnance being the word usage, it makes sense for it to be torpedo, because you're not going to use the word heavy ordnance for just having a lot of it. Heavy ordnance is always going to be compared with large.
That's what I would think
in comparison to ammunition, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I'm just curious to get a military person's perspective, because I can read that either way. So just based on how it's worded,
and then that's the other thing. There's the real military way of reading it, which a lot of times is based in good logic, and then there's the CIG interpretation of military.
True.
Which is sometimes all over the place.
Yeah, so true.
One of the things that's also referenced, a couple things real quick, is I think a lot of times where I find these leaks to be the most wrong, and I say leaks, but what I should really say is data mining. I mean, the fact that they're leaked just means someone posted it on Discord. It's a data mine is what it is. So it's stuff in the files and the Evo build. And when looking at that code, again, you do have to be very careful, because some of the stuff is there and doesn't mean what you think it means. So for example, when I looked through some of the stuff, I saw references to the Paladin, but I didn't see anything stating that was flyable. Now, that's not to say who data mined this didn't find additional information. I'm just saying that, like,
person that data mined this has now been caught out twice.
Okay.
Not speculating alone, and reporting it as fact, and he's been caught out twice, and that's why he doesn't work where he used to work anymore.
Right.
And it's also why I stopped working there.
Yeah.
And Piggle stopped working there.
Yeah.
Because he was doing that shit.
So anyway, and there's a lot of weird things to read into things. So I always go back to when the Polaris first showed up in the Invictus event, when it wasn't flight ready yet, but we saw it there. Immediately a lot of people went and immediately measured the ship from the in-game file, and the in-game file said 188 meters long, and me and VMXEO were able to quickly dispel that. That was just the bounding box for the physics collision. That's all it was, again, but it looked like that's what the size of the Polaris was when you're looking at the data, but
and
the
also
data was
bounding
wrong.
Boxes are not used when they're just in a display model that's sitting on the floor.
Exactly.
So
That can be wrong. The actual Polaris was 168 meters, almost 20 meters shorter than that. So again, I just use that as one example, as when you're reading into some of these data leaks sometimes, that really nothing is set in stone until that patch is pushed live, ultimately.
Do you know, I've just been sitting here thinking about this Mirror Guardian MX, and I'm hoping it's not like a direct competitor to the Harbinger, because that kind of is what that would imply. What I'm actually hoping is that some kind of hybrid where it's got torpedoes and missiles, and maybe the torpedoes are just loaded when you're in the hangar.
Yeah.
So you can't like you know how the Harbinger can like reload them and stuff, and so it's
Yeah.
got like a lot more to fire. Maybe this has only got like 4 torpedoes and that's it. Like once it's
Well,
fired, it's done.
And I think
That's my hope.
Yeah, and I think we need to go back to our good old, we're going to reference it, chat. Everyone get excited. We have to go back to our good old silhouette video here. Remember when they showed that Guardian that everyone was like, "Oh, it's a lot more angular. It doesn't look like the Guardian and all that." What we could be looking at here is the MX. Again, there was some,
Okay.
I know me and XQ, you may have said this first, said it possibly could be a racing variant. It still could be that. We don't know.
Yeah.
This also could be the MX. Maybe it's more angular, and maybe who knows? We don't really know. But regardless, it's quite clear that based off the audio sound files that have leaked and stuff, that there are Guardian variants coming, or at least one. So
I've just found something that really does back up what you're saying, by the way, about the torpedoes.
Yeah.
Literally, the next section after that section says new S12 and S10 size torpedoes.
Yeah, yeah. And what I think that is, speak to that for a minute. So there's a few new references to size 12 and size 10 torpedoes. Again, everyone remember that is big. That size 10 is what is in Polaris. Size 12 is what is Javelin.
Polaris and Javelin.
And so a couple of the things, though, that are interesting, it says each of these new torpedoes come in cross-section, electromagnetic, and IR variants, okay? That is interesting. What that means, if that is to be believed, if that is accurate, if what we're seeing is accurate there, that means that, put aside the size 12 and the Javelin for a minute, that could mean that the Polaris is getting different types of torpedoes.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Can you open your Cinema, whatever it's called, Cinema to 4D or whatever they use? Is that the thing you use? Open that, and I want a Guardian next to a Polaris torpedo, if you can put those next to each other.
I actually don't have the Guardian. I do not. You know what? No, I do have the Guardian. I do. It'll take me a minute.
The real Grim Ender. We need to find the real Grim. He's been kidnapped. They have done something with him, Ender.
I can get it. I have to.
Too far away. I can't call the police. I don't have his wife's number.
I have to. What I'm going to have to do is.
You real feel for the family, don't you? When someone's been kidnapped.
I know it's pretty bad. What I'm actually going to have to do here is rip it from the RSI website, which I can do. It won't take very long, but I'll do that while we're talking.
I'll pay the ransom.
My brain's going down this. My brain's going down this thing is like, is it possible?
Yeah.
Because why would they put new weapons in? Right. And they only ever put new weapons in when it's required for something. So my brain's going, could this have less but bigger torpedoes? Kind of like how the Guardian had 2 size 5s on it. The Harbinger's only got the 1. You see where I'm going with this, right? So they essentially removed the 2 size 5s and maybe they put 2 torpedoes on it instead.
Maybe. So definitely the size 12. I think that's just either related to an in-game event, or that's more references to future Javelin work or Javelin work that we know is going on right now. Because again, we do know that they are working on the Javelin. That is very clear. Just like they've been working on the Idris. So, I think the size 12 thing could simply mean that, and maybe we see the Javelin in one of these big Invictus events that's going on, right?
True.
In terms of
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
We also know that they. I feel like from what CIG said, there's still work and stuff they want to do to the Polaris. They've kind of hinted at that a little bit, so that could be related to that. I agree with you that it seems a little out of left field, and I could see it being tied to whatever this MX thing is. I do think, and again, we'll be able to bring it up here in just a second, but I still think that possibly a size 12 or size 10 weapon is going to be like stupid big on this thing.
And does he crush your dreams like this on a regular basis that he does to me, or is it just exclusive
all the time?
Well, don't get too excited. I don't know if I have a size 10 torpedo actually, so we'll see. If I used to. We'll have to see if I still do.
I just want to see if it's even remotely in the window of possibility at all.
Yeah,
or is it because like the only place I can envision it going at all is kind of like between the two, like where the guns go, but like literally right through. And do they have to modify the engines at all so it can fit in? Like, do they move the engines somehow to the back or even further to the side or something stupid?
Right. And maybe because when we looked at
It
that
could look
original,
insane.
because
Like
when
a
we
TIE
looked at
fighter
that,
sandwich.
yeah, because when we looked at that
Two
original
hot dog buns
silhouette,
flying through the sky.
oh wait a minute, nope, that's not
Can you
it.
see that? Two hot dog buns on the.
I could see it. It would be so
Yeah.
Why am I
ridiculous.
hungry all of a sudden?
Yeah, unless
Sorry?
I don't. Yeah, I don't
Why am I
know.
hungry all of a sudden?
I don't.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
All right, so okay, I don't have that
I just
one.
want to know
Let
if
me.
mine comes with mustard and ketchup. You know, like can you get some kind of food? The hot dog skin. I reckon that'd be really funny. Like
Oh
as a
God, the
like
double dog.
the double
Guardian
dog
double
skin. Oh, that's
dog.
perfect. Buster would love that. A Guardian double dog skin. That'd be so funny.
Arch Ralph says free Graham. Hashtag free Graham. I agree with that. You know, I thought I had size 10 torps. That may be something I need to ask VMXEO for, but I thought for sure that we had that. I'm looking at that now, everyone. I'm going to see if we have it. Excuse me.
Hey, if you don't mind, real quick, I wanted to say thank you to Victura. Victura, you provided 3 paintings to me, and those 3 paintings are going to be used for an auction.
He did finger
at
painting,
St. Jude,
and they're valuable
at St. Jude.
Oh, okay, right.
For St. Jude's Play Live Summit. So I wanted to say thank you for that.
Very cool.
What type of paintings were they? Can you tell us or not?
They are he does the concierge, just a basic concierge painting. It's nothing heavy, but
yeah.
He sent 3 my way for just St. Jude in general, and they asked us to bring some stuff this year, which is rare, and we're auctioning them off to the parents actually. So
very cool.
And one of the parents saw it and asked if I would bring it, and I said, "Yeah, I'll bring 3 of them."
So it doesn't look like we have size 10 torpedo models.
Can we get a box though? If you got like the length and the width type of thing, or even just the length would be enough.
Yeah. If anyone knows that, that'd be great. I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Look.
Maybe. But yes, it's it would. Here's the thing. It would be. I think if they did slap a giant torpedo on here, it would be ridiculous. What I think we're going to see is maybe some like size 10 torpedoes or something. Actually, wait a minute. I may have.
Don't you have the Polaris, and inside the Polaris you've got the bay that holds the torpedoes, so you could at least get a vague idea?
You don't have. I don't have the interior. I don't have the interior. I only have the. I have the radius of the circle, but not of the tube, but not the actual torpedo scale. Unfortunately,
yeah, I still think he's definitely been kidnapped.
Sorry. This is what happens when I'm not prepared for.
And I ask off the cuff questions that are particularly bizarre.
Yeah,
make a double dog Guardian.
I sent word out to VM. If VM doesn't have it, no one has it. So VM, if VM is checking for me now, I'll leave the Guardian up in case VM is able to extract it and work his magic. He says he's on it. And again, everyone, give a big shout out to VMXEO and Ventivar and James the Stormtrooper and all the work they do and Starjump Fleet Viewer. VM, the tally has size 9s, but if you can get the torpedoes from the tally, I can scale those up to fit the torpedo tubes of the Polaris, and that will give us our torpedo size.
Can't you just do that with a box, though?
We could, but I don't know what the... We could get the radius, but we don't know the length yet, because I don't know the length of the torpedo.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But while he's grabbing that, which usually doesn't take long, and VM, if you can get FBX file, that'd be great. But if not, don't worry about it, buddy. But let's talk about Starlancer TAC for a minute. Let's go back to that one. I'm very curious on how many people, like I said, are going to move from the Max to the TAC. I actually think it's going to be, if the price is not too much more, I think it's going to be a pretty solid upgrade for most people, like a pretty sure bet. And that's primarily because of 2 things. One, the rear of the Starlancer series of ships, like don't even consider the side storage, the spinal storage. Just the rear compartment is a pretty nice sized cargo area, like just straight up. And if that will suffice for a lot of people, even people that do like to run cargo. And then the second thing, the fact that the TAC has medical facilities on board instantly elevates that ship to another kind of level to me. So I think that's going to be a sure bet for people that own the Starlancer TAC to move to, or sorry, that own the Max to move to the TAC.
I think it'll definitely be a popular ship, given the fact that you get military quarters and it's a lot smaller than a Polaris as well. Like essentially, that's the only other ship at the moment that I can think of that has military and that. But the thing that really sucks about the Starlancer is just its sheer size, like you brought up. It's essentially, again, you can go into Hangerlink and bring it up. It's more comparable to a 600i than it is a Constellation.
It's significantly bigger.
And those little winglets that it has on it just increase its size even more, like needlessly.
The ship is got a pretty big like a pretty big cross section. So it's definitely not a ship that to me is like, I don't know. It's got a kind of a weird role, to be honest with you, but I actually see why people would want it. So Explorer's 92 meters long. This is 83 meters long. So it's, again, significant. And if you compare that to something like
Chucking the Connie, because it's essentially Connie features, except you're essentially getting a smaller, shittier. Well, I'd say the Fury and the Merlin are comparable, but generally the Merlin wins. Like it's, again, that.
Yeah. The Starlancer series sits comfortably in the middle there.
Yeah, but again, the distance between the Starlancer and the Connie is greater than the distance between the Starlancer and the 600i. That was my point. And I'd also argue that the Starlancer is also wider than the 600i.
Yeah, Sisters of Battle says, does it have PDCs? I don't believe the TAC has PDCs, but I could see it getting a PDC or two. It's to the scale where you would think it would have PDCs, especially when you consider that the Connie Phoenix has them. I do think ships that get past the 80 meter mark probably should have it, even at the very least, the TAC having like a single PDC on top and bottom would be good.
It's a sign of luxury though too. Like that's why the 600i's got it in the Phoenix and stuff like that. It's generally on ships that are like flying safe rooms. I don't think the Max falls under that. I have problems with the Max from the fact that essentially it should be a mirror ship, not a miss ship, because again, combat and performance and racing. So essentially, you go look at the mirror ships; they're all racing and combat at the moment.
Yeah, which I also am a little weird on. Like, I actually wish Mirai was racing focused. The fact that it's military and racing seem like an odd combination, like two sectors that they focus on. I mean, I do get it, but by and large, in the real world, companies that do a lot of times what happens is companies that build in the industrial sector or the commercial sector will also build military stuff, right? Where racing tends to be so specialized and high and like high threshold on engineering that they want to specialize it, because again, it's so single purpose built, where a lot of military stuff and commercial and industrial stuff has to be a little bit more able to take on multiple environments, multiple tasking, stuff like that.
Two things I want you to throw in, and I don't know if you've done these in Hangar Link the same way as RSI's done them, but can you put in the Freelancer Miss and the Starfarer Gemini? Just chuck them off to one side somewhere. And I don't know if it's going to be the same as what I'm trying to show.
Obviously, both MISC ships. Yep, got it.
And see how they're green? That is an armor thing when it comes to Thingo. This is a military ship. It needs to be green with the others. So if it doesn't come out green, and in none of the shots is it green,
Yeah.
they've double broken their own law as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They did say that the paint for the default paint for the TAC would be a gray green.
Okay.
But you know, I could see them going maybe more towards Misk and Gym. I personally would prefer it to be a little bit more gray green and not so green. But
well, the green's meant to be armor. It's actually meant to be
some
like
sort
an
of
actual
armor
armor.
cladding. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Gotcha.
And
It's just a little
you'll
too
even
green
see
for me. But
you'll even see that green in some of the other ships.
yeah.
That are not like the Vanguard series and stuff like that. Ones that are not Misk. So it is a more military color, the green ones. So
Yeah. Yeah. But ultimately, I know there's a reference there in the leaks of the Starlancer build being a likely display. That would to me be very, very surprising. The build is a construction based ship, and Invictus launch week has nothing to do with industrial building. To me, if they were going to put that on display, why not have the other building stuff on display too? To me, it would make more sense to do a some sort of like, you know, they talked about the Workers Week thing already, but some sort of industrial focus at some point in the year where you show those off. Again, it's not to say they couldn't show it and put it in game if it's like ready to go, or at least the exterior. It just seems kind of off topic for Invictus. So that would be like Pulte Home Builders, who built my house. It'd be like them setting up shop during the Navy's next expo. You know, right alongside
was this an Evo build that was dropped, was it? Or
yeah, it was an Evo build the other day. So with a 3-hour playtest, and then another big Evo drop. I think tonight.
I must have missed it. Because I was just logging in to see if there was an Evo build, and there isn't one. So
yeah, so apparently another one's coming tonight, though. I think that's going to have more stuff in it. So I think we're on that path now to more and more stuff leaking out ahead of Invictus. Look, everyone, I'll tell you right now too. It's very, very. Actually, Shimpasta says it right there. Looks like a new Evo build for today or tomorrow if all goes well. Here's the thing. It's very possible we're going to kind of know before Invictus what the 3 ships are. It's also very
pretty
possible.
Good at hiding it, though.
They are getting better at yeah, they're getting better at hiding it. Personally, I would still love a surprise drop. That is kind of a pain in the ass thing, though, when it comes to fleet.
Look at the Golem, and the Golem, and that did come out in leaks, but it was just like a day before.
Yeah, and it wasn't even it leaked. It was almost like the bags leaked or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately, one thing that that can be easy to forget. I mean, let's go back to our list for a minute here. Let's say all these leaks are accurate, and I'm very much thinking they're not. But let's say they all are accurate. Let's say we have a flyable Paladin, a flyable Mirai Guardian MX, a flyable Starlancer TAC. And let's go ahead, and I think we could. I feel pretty confident in saying possibly a drivable, a small ground vehicle, something like this. I'll put it up here in the thing that we saw from the silhouette video. Maybe it's this, right? I know there's another ground vehicle, like a ballista thing that came out too, but let's say it's a cheaper thing, right? Like this little ground vehicle. That's not to say, though, that we also won't get a concept drop during Invictus. It's possible. So there still may be surprises in store. Those surprises may not be the flight ready stuff, though. It could be the concept thing. And then generally, correct me if I'm wrong, but concept ships that are announced at Invictus are always combat focused as well. Am I right on that?
Not always.
Not always. Okay.
You can the Ironclad. They did have the Ironclad Assault, so I guess you could technically say that. But,
yeah. Well, and that leads us to our next thing, our next quick topic. We can't forget Drake Defense Con either. We're going to know real quick if Drake has anything to show by some of the if there's any like messaging or additional banners that leak out for Invictus, posters or what have you. Like, for example, if they come out with a poster that says Drake has something new coming, or if it says Drake is ready to come to the party or something new, some sort of wordsmithing that hints to something like that. As a big Drake fan, obviously I'm looking very much forward to whatever Drake brings to the table. Hopefully they do bring something for Invictus. We've often talked about this silhouette here, that ship that I am leaning more and more to being a heavy fighter, but I know there's a lot of split opinions on it.
I will concede that it could possibly be Drake, right? I'll
Yep.
give you that, but there's no way I'm going to give you the heavy fighter. Not in a
Let me ask you this:
what happened with the Talon, the Santoki Eye, and all those things? Nope.
But let me ask you this: here's why I think it could be, and why it may look like this. But don't you think that CIG struggles a little bit with the Corsair and its combat effectiveness, and they're kind of like trying to do something where, hey, look, you don't need to use the Corsair for that role. We can do this other thing that is essentially a Corsair, just without the ability to carry a vehicle.
The other thing I'll put in there, though, is this is not how do I put this? This is like bigger than a Cutlass. Right, this is like if you take a Cutlass and turn it sideways, and look at the guy that's standing on the ground, right, for scale, right. Now, if you just chop the wings off, it's still roughly a Cutlass in size, right? And then you add the wings, whether they're horizontal or vertical. I'm not getting into that, right?
Yeah.
This is a huge ass cross section, right? So it just doesn't make sense to have a fighter that has these big ass wings that you can just blow the fuck off. It just doesn't make any sense.
But
it's the same problem with the Talon.
But isn't that essentially the same thing though with the Vanguard series as well? I mean, it's a pretty wide ship.
I can see where you're going
it's
there.
Pretty big.
But like, let's be honest. If I pulled out a Corsair wing and put it next to a Vanguard wing, it's pretty much chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have the same effect. Like in atmosphere, the Corsair is going to be essentially able to glide on those wings. Yeah. I don't think the Vanguard's going to struggle very much if you took off that tiny little wing. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Socially Confused says something kind of interesting to think about. Like, what if there's a Drake version of like a Redeemer or Valkyrie? Something that's a little bit more of like small gunship. I think it goes back to the same issues that the wings on this definitely become a liability in Atmo, but in space they don't matter unless CIG mounts a bunch of the guns on them and you shoot the wings off.
Far more likely, because of the wings, I am far more likely to lean into the Corsair in the way of saying that it's an explorer, because the exploring element of those wings on the Corsair, you literally go, well, this means that in atmosphere I can glide and fly for cheaper. It's probably makes it it's the simplest solution, right? Because Drake are all about simplicity, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the complaints we had about the Golem, like the way that mining head like choo-choo trains along the rail line. That's one of the most complicated Drake things I've ever seen. And Drake just don't do that traditionally, right? Yeah. So, the simple idea of actually having wings where RSI's got rotating fans, you go to the other ones, they have massive VTOLs.
Yeah.
Even when they do the Cutlass, the VTOLs are massively huge rocket engines, where when you look at, say, something like a Hercules or a Spirit, they're little ones that are more integrated.
Yeah.
They're more complex. But I just can't give you heavy fighter because of the wing.
I will say though, if
rule it out completely.
If we're following the unconfirmed rules, we do need to note that there's a guy with a gun down here in this silhouette, hinting that maybe combat.
Yep. And we had the same thing in other pictures of people with guns, and we actually ended up dismissing all that because we had it was the guys in the Fortune, and there was a guy on another guy with a gun, and the ship came out and it wasn't even a gunship at all. So they're just there in the background. They're just random people they chucked in the background.
Yeah.
So we initially thought that as well.
Yeah, it's another thing. I know a lot of people are very curious, obviously, about the Ironclad. Another ship that is obviously in production.
Yep.
I do think there's a couple of things to consider with the Ironclad. It's
my most likely one to come at Invictus. To be honest with you,
it's in my opinion very likely because it is. Again, I think we would agree that from what we've heard, it's been in development for quite some time. In addition to that, though. I think it will be hard for CIG to keep this one a secret if it is going flight ready during Invictus. I think, or during Drake Defense Con, I guess we should say. And the only thing I would say to that is if any leaks drop out where there's a huge area, or for example, if there is a huge change to the layout of Drake Defense Con, because usually it's laid out generally the same way. Obviously, with ships that came on board, like the Corsair and stuff, things did switch around, but usually they have the Caterpillar in the center, kind of loud and proud. Obviously, if the Ironclad is going straight to flyable, or not straight to flyable, sorry, flight ready, we're going to have a big piece of real estate in the middle of that Drake Defense Con floor map or floor layout that's going to, hint towards that, because the Ironclad is a very large ship. I think 126 meters long. So again, Carrack Link, and it's also pretty wide. So it's got a pretty massive footprint. But we'll have to see. We didn't see anything in the PU report, by the way, about the Ironclad and its development. So, well, I guess I'd just say we have to see.
Be deliberate. So that can also be deliberate to hide the fact that it's coming.
It could.
And in final production, it kind of like gives it all away.
Yeah. It definitely could be. I would not doubt that for a minute. Real quick, everyone, I'm going to switch us back over. VMXEO coming back at us with the this is size 10 torp. This is the bearing size 10 torp that is in the the Polaris. So just let me change a few things here real quick so that it doesn't look as crazy. Let me turn off luminance preference. There we go. Okay, so there we go. There's our torpedo. Let's go back over to our Guardian. This is probably scaled appropriately. Yeah, so if that's the size 10 torp, and that seems small.
Not if you consider
switch
you have to have some inner working, right? So it's going to be stored in a location. It's not going to be
well, actually,
the whole ship. So
yeah, actually, that might be accurate. I mean, it's
11. We can safely say the double dog is confirmed.
So it's 11.
Double dog confirmed.
So it's 11 meters long. The torpedo is 11 meters long.
Yeah.
Which sounds about right. That sounds about right. And if this is to all be believed, if that is accurate, you could have a Guardian that can carry probably 4 of these, maybe 2 on each pylon. I mean, again, they got to balance it. Maybe they could go crazy and there's 6 that sit, like 3 on here, 3 on this side, 3 on this side. It is possible. I think
Can you go back to the blue silhouette image for a second?
Yep. Let me
because I don't think they sit on the inside anymore. I was just looking at it myself.
Let me go back to that. Bear with me. Gonna get it up.
Because it looks like it's got like almost like a cage on the outside. You'll see what I mean when you look at it. And I think that is where you can also see like there's little nubs and stuff. The wings are essentially thicker. I think they go on the outside.
Yeah. Part of me even wonders if they couldn't be like internal in these, and maybe there's like a torpedo tube on each one of these or something. That'd be kind of crazy. It could be on the outside.
It's on the top right hand side. So you got those little 2 clip things that are on the top right hand side.
Yep.
Or you can almost visualize the torpedoes being there.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Does that mean it carries 8? That'd be insane.
Yeah, the thing is though, is we've never here. So let me go back to one other thing real quick. Let me switch back over.
You got to realize this has got no guns, because you can see the guns have been taken off, because you can see the thing there.
Yeah.
So this would just be a ship with 8 torpedoes and nothing else. So they would be vulnerable as shit once they've fired them.
Yeah.
And even before they fire them.
I almost wonder too, though, if torpedoes. Well, I was going to say torpedoes always launch out of tubes, but that's not the case with the Retaliator, right? It sort of drops them like a missile.
Yeah.
So I guess we've seen them so far in the verse. We've seen them drop like a missile and fire, and or launch out of a tube. And when they launch out of the tube, taking the Polaris into account, they sort of do what a submarine does, where they eject the torpedo and then it fires, right? So
well, this could just be an ejection in a certain direction and then it fires type of thing.
Yeah, it could be. It could be partly what I was wondering is if they were going to do something where, like, if you imagine the torpedo sitting more like here, and these wings have just extra cladding in here with a tube on front. That way it can, essentially launch out the front. I don't know. They've got to keep the center line straight too, so that it's not like if I go up here, like you wouldn't want the torpedo like. This is going to be very haphazard, everyone. Bear with me. But you wouldn't want the torpedo like kind of like mounted along. Like you wouldn't.
Well, that's what I.
like that.
I think those. That's what I think the clips are.
Yeah,
I think the clips come up to make it level.
Yeah, they seem a little small
because
for
again,
a big torpedo,
you go look at the normal. You look at the Guardian model you've got there. There is nothing like that I can tell. Like if you position that at a similar angle to the blue silhouette, there's no clips like that on it. None at all.
Yeah, it is true. I mean,
there's two of them, right? So there's two at the back, and there's obviously two at the front that we can't see.
Well, the thing that grabs me,
the same height, that makes sense.
Well, the thing that grabs me is when you're looking at this. I'm not at the exact angle, everyone, obviously, but you can see right here this little piece, right, where it kind of like cuts back in, and we see the engine through here. Even if I go to like angles that are even off of that, you kind of always see that. You see these wings, but you still see the engine back there. But when I switch over to this here, that is not what we see back here. We see what looks to be like a much thicker profile on the nacelle. We don't see the engine back there. So this could be an incomplete model, but what this also could be is just a completely, like, kind of a radical departure from the Guardian that we know, which also may be why it took so long to come out past the original Guardian. Like maybe this is why the MX didn't come out with the original Guardian. Why it was the Key or the Qui or whatever it was, because it didn't require as much external changes.
So
if this is a TIE fighter, it's a TIE heavy.
I gotta go, guys. I gotta get a couple of things done for work.
Take you later. Take it easy, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Hey, just one thing to note real quick. Grim, I sent you a link. If you can,
I will push that out. I see the link now.
And also, we are $17 away from $22,000 lifetime.
Yes, everyone, check that out. $17 away from $22,000 raid for St. Jude. That is all because of you. Thank you all very much. We're going to do a big St. Jude talk as we wrap up the show here shortly. But yeah, great point, Ender. Thank you very much. So real quick here before we do wrap up, I'm going to switch back. So again, you just see how much thicker these wings are. I think it could have something to do with that. It's going to be interesting to see. As we're talking about this now, I am more and more curious about this ship and what it possibly could be. As VMXEO sent me an image too that essentially showed the torpedoes more like tucked under here. Which I don't disagree with. I mean, I think there's ample room for stuff to be tucked under. And if you imagine if they were kind of like under here, they could fire and come out the side profile here.
I'll have to come back in and have a look. Just give me a minute.
No worries. But if you had them sort of mounted exterior right here, the way these wings cut in, they could actually fire and clear. That would be kind of interesting.
A lot can change in 6 months.
A lot can change. Well,
I wouldn't be surprised. The interesting thing about the ship, though, is essentially it's 4 pylons that are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it's not as much work, as a modeling point of view, because you've only got to really make one heavy, and then they're duplicated 4 times.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people in chat. I think some people got some great messages. Some people questioning whether it could be 6 or 8 or whatever. But ultimately, let's see. Mookin says, quick question. Do you think ship modules ever come out in LTI, or does insurance for ship modules not matter as much? I don't
recommend buying modules because I treat them like fighters.
Yeah.
I am more of a get the modules in game guy.
Scissor Fuzz donated
the same value.
Scissor Fuzz donated $40 for the 600i that I will give away on Tuesday. Thank you very much, Scissor. Appreciate that. Good looking out. Thank you very, very much. Very cool. Well, I'm getting to the end of my time. I wanted to spend today to primarily go over some of these leaks that have come out. I'm sure Execute, you will start thinking about a lot of these pretty heavily as well, seeing as that your content obviously focuses a lot on ships and stuff like mine does. So I think you'll be kind of thinking about this too, and we'll be exchanging ideas. But it's always an exciting
Sure.
time when we're coming up on an Invictus or an IAE. So,
Well, I'm thinking after today, you know how we've been talking to Tristan?
mhm.
I'm actually thinking we should probably try and do that, the idea we had. So I'll tell chat the idea.
Yeah.
We had an idea to get me, Tristan, Trispone, and Grim together and do like a speculation episode on like basically almost every ship we know that's coming or something like that.
Yeah.
And then split it into 3 episodes and do 1 episode on each channel.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if we do this like just a couple of days before Invictus or something like that, it might be really cool.
Yeah, I think it could be really cool. I think it could be really awesome, and just get 3 different perspectives and 3 different sort of themes for the show. So,
and bounce off each other, obviously, as well.
Yeah. Real quick, everyone, I'm going to do my last St. Jude thing. Do not forget, we are doing St. Jude right now. You can go to the Tiltify link that you see on screen, or if you're on Twitch, you can go to the link that I am posting now. If you're on YouTube, there is a Tiltify link pinned to the top of the chat. Just click that, and it'll take you to there. We have 3 raffles going on right now, 1 for a Buccaneer, 1 for a 600i, and 1 for an RSI Polaris. You can get on those. Different prices for those tickets, but when you put your donation, let's say if you donate $100 to St. Jude, you can attach it to the Polaris giveaway because it is $100 buy-in for that. So that gets you 1 ticket by donating $100 to St. Jude. If it's the 600i, it's a $40 one. If it's the Buccaneer, I think it's $10. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we have a lot more stuff we're giving away over the course of April and May. Plenty of other ships, including Carrack, another RSI Polaris, and some other surprises. We have Starjump Challenge coins. We're going to be giving away 3 custom liveries in Fleet Viewer. We have all kinds of stuff planned, another Fleet Builders episode coming down the pipe as well. So thank you very much for your donations. Really appreciate it. It's been absolutely amazing. Again, we have been featured on the front page of St. Jude's website a few times in the last few days because of the amount of donations we are generating. Yep. So big shout out there. Again, we're only 9 days into this campaign, and it's already been amazing. So big thank you to all of you. And again, this was kind of just our general weekly chat stream where we kind of chat about randomly whatever's going on. So obviously, this chat can kind of go off topic sometimes, but today we stuck to it, which was great. That's really good. Dirdivis just subscribed for 3 months in a row. Yeah. Thank you, Dirdivis. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm going to send you all over to.
Wait. Before you send them anywhere, I just want a 1 or 2 in chat. 1 for yes, 2 for no. When the Guardian MX drops, does Grim need to do a double dog skin for the Guardian MX? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to hear.
There we go. I think we can make
it'll
that.
be 1. Yeah, look at all the ones. Yeah.
It's going to be 1.
Yeah. You can't unsee it now once you've seen it.
So everyone,
meme the shit out of CIG. Anyway,
thank you again very much. I'm going to send you over to friend of the show and all around cool dude. Going to send you over to Loken Plays. Give him some Starjump love when you head over there and tell him Grim sent you.
Fellow intro runner.
Yeah,
fellow intro runner.
Oh, there you go. Yes. So there you go. Awesome dude. Give him some Starjump love, everyone. Thanks for hanging out today and talking spaceships with me, Starjump Ender, and of course Execute. Oh, one last thing I did want to post, everybody. So Ender doesn't kill me. Do not forget, as I said at the end of the show, to go over to our new channel, Starjump Academy, over on YouTube. We're starting to get content up there. We're going to have 1 piece of content drop later tonight. And again, it's just casual, informal stuff, pro tips and stuff for brand new players. If you're a seasoned player, it probably won't apply to you. But again, share it amongst new people coming into the game. It's going to cover a lot of like very 101 level stuff, and I think you'll get something out of it. So
be a good resource to won't be good for yourself, but it'd be good to share with new people that you meet, especially as the game moves towards release.
Exactly. So everyone, have a great rest of your day. Thank you all. Do something kind for a stranger. Thank you for your St. Jude donations. Really, really appreciate it. Again, once again, give Loken Plays some Starjump love. Sending you all there now. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you.